roll?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
So the overarching goal of this immortality bus, of course, is the coffin shape. But the most difficult part of the coffin shape is just getting on what we'd call the top part of a coffin, because a bus is actually very rectangular. It's naturally looking like almost a rectangular box. So what we're trying to do is create a coffin feel by putting on the top of the coffin. But of course, that requires all sorts of structural things, and we must make sure that that top doesn't fall off. So that's what I'm spending a huge amount of my days on right now, is making sure that the bus itself has the integrity of the top of the bus, the coffin part, has the integrity to stay on, you know, when you're driving 60, 70 miles down the road or you're doing sharp turns, and it's not a safety hazard. But the main goal is, outside of the structural beams, which I'm pretty close to being done, is actually getting up the plywood, which will give it its shape. And it's going to be something like this, all the way across and all the way down. And that's our kind of our next big project, is to start building out the coffin. And of course, once it's painted and once you have a ton of flowers and you know, plastic flowers on board, then all of a sudden you'll really have that kind of coffin looking feel. But you know, that's ultimately the strategy that I'm trying to do here, is to get it looking as much like a coffin as I can, but it'll really be the paint job that probably does it all. It just has to be a uniform color, and it also has to have canvas covers over all the windows.
So how do you see the paintings and the handles and stuff like that?
So ultimately with the paintings, what we're going to be doing is writing Immortality Bus with Zoltan Istvan, and then have handles in between, like it would be a normal coffin that a bunch of people would, you know, get up and carry. In the beginning, we're going to paint on the handles, but eventually I wouldn't mind actually having some big giant things welded into place that would actually make it look like it's a big giant coffin. But so that's kind of the part. The painting is critical, and you have to understand with the windows, for example, all the windows we're going to have buttons right here, and they're going to be canvas covered, not when we're driving, of course, but when we're stationary, and that's mostly when people would see the buses, when we're kind of parked in a university parking lot and giving a speech or something, and people can visit the bus. Then all the windows will be covered, and that'll be just like the design, where you won't actually see a difference, because the covering of the windows will be the same color as the bus. So it'll still look like this big giant casket just sitting on the side of the road or in some parking lot. Good?